this topic is of particular interest, I think, not only to myself, but millions of Americans, not just because the company in question here actually owns the genetic data of millions and millions of Americans, but because of what's happening right now with DOGE, with the Trump administration, with private contractors getting multi-million-dollar contracts to integrate Americans' personal data, with the court cases that are in front of the Supreme Court and the district courts, and this proposal that came through this House just 2 weeks ago in the dead of night that basically would preempt state and local laws from regulating our private data through AI systems. And so, I mean, it's hard to not sit here and listen to this conversation and not feel like we're living through a sci-fi movie, right? Like we've all seen this scary sci-fi movie before, that our private biological data, not me personally, I'm too much of a privacy freak to do these genetic tests myself, that a private company has our data, they experience bankruptcy, and now we have no federal regulatory system to protect that data, and we're concerned that foreign adversaries might purchase the company and thus the data. I mean, this is insane. Like, this is crazy. And meanwhile, I completely agree. This is bipartisan in this hearing, but our colleagues across the aisle are trying to pass legislation that would deregulate and preempt data privacy and AI laws across the United States in every single state and locality for the next 10 years. That's bonkers. Like, you can't have it both ways. You can't haul a private company in before Congress to talk about their bankruptcy and the fact that they have 15 million Americans' private biological data, and you want to protect it, and then you're trying to use Congress to preempt state and local law so that we can't protect private data. Like, that is completely intellectually incongruent and dangerous for Americans. Professor Hu, I was really interested in your background because you've worked both on the DOJ side as well as on the academic side. And, you know, you've outlined some of this in your testimony, but I'm particularly interested in your background in national security and prosecuting national security cases. And if you could talk a bit more about this, like, political intersection we're seeing right now in this moment and what threats that poses for not just national security with foreign adversaries, but the potential that Americans' data could be misused by private companies here in the United States.
Thank you so much, Congresswoman. I think because of the bipartisan nature of this topic, it is so critical to come together and try to advocate for the types of legal framework that we need in order to address these national security threats appropriately. And I do believe that part of the issue right now is because in an absence of congressional legislation, we are asking these corporations to come in and fill that gap. And so we're asking of companies like 23andMe, you need to have the best data privacy, the best cybersecurity possible. But what about federal law that then mandates that instead of looking to industry standards? And I am very concerned about the moratorium and the idea that in the absence of federal law that regulates comprehensively AI systems, that we would ban and bar states and localities from going forward with their attempts to try to offer some type of meaningful safeguard on these types of technologies. And so thank you very much. I do think that this is so critical for there to be true bipartisanship for this national security issue.
Thank you. And, you know, one of the things I really want to emphasize, for folks who are out there watching this and concerned about data privacy, which I believe is everybody, you know, I watch my share of both liberal and conservative news, and I mean, everybody from Theo Vaughn to our colleague Marjorie Taylor Greene to myself to this side of the aisle are raising the alarm on this provision because of the significance that it has for the safety of Americans. And so I think it's really, really important that we elevate this conversation right now and understand what they're proposing in this bill, because when you read that bill, it literally not only says we would preempt state and local laws, it basically says any company even that wants to use an AI system in a locality could not be barred from accessing your data, which means that presumably a private company that does not have privacy and secured data systems could then be compelled under this preemption law to give away your data. I mean, that's dangerous. That is dangerous.